Hello everyone, welcome to another video by Fans UCAT Education. So before I just sort of want to get into the video and my intro and everything, I do just want to put it out there that there is going to be a very high quality worksheet that's going to be shown later in this video. It's an abstract reasoning worksheet that actually massively and shows you a lot of very important information which you're going to need to massively improve your scores. So that's going to be coming later in this video, and it's going to be coming in down below as well in the description. So please don't actually click away. It's a very high quality resource. But anyway, so without further ado, let's just get into the intro now. With that being said, so pretty much, if you guys don't know me, so I'm Philip, and I did the UCAT in 2019, where I was able to achieve a very, very high score, pretty much the 90th percentile. In fact, the top 0.21%. With this, I actually ended up accepting an offer to study medicine at an Australian university. And actually, I've now decided to try to take my sort of skills and share them with you all and everything for the UCAT. So take my skills for the UCAT and share them all to you. As a specialist UCAT educator, I've been teaching for over 5 years with 70 plus students taught with a 100% success rate as well. For students who have been able to sort of being shown to just follow my program through like the acceptable standard. So anyway, so with that being said, let's just get into the sort of lesson that I sort of want to have for today. So pretty much today is going to be an abstract reasoning lesson. So that's the intro now. And pretty much this is just, if you saw in the title and everything, this is just about one quick and easy way to help speed up your abstract reasoning. A very, very simple thing. It will take you literally around 10 to 15 minutes to sort of really get done and dusted and everything. But you're going to see that your speed with abstract reasoning increases massively and everything from this and everything. So definitely something very useful. So I'm going to go into that right now. But just before I hop into that, I do just want to sort of put it out there, as always, that I do have a Google Forms link where you can just request a private tutoring session with me. It is a highly premium exclusive lesson where you're going to be able to get many, many tips, lots of different ways that can help you out as well. Exam reviews, just general teaching with like a different topic. So there's a link right there. If you want to as well, you can just simply look in the sort of down below to that sort of description area, and it'll have that sort of link as well if you don't want to just type it up from there. And also a free online UCAT Discord community, just that link there as well. If you guys are Discord, just simply click that. A link right there. It's going to be as well down below that sort of description area. And pretty much with that and everything, you're going to be able to access a sort of community, which will help you massively for the UCAT. It's going to be pretty much just like a bunch of students all together and everything, all just helping you guys out and all just helping each other. Everyone just helping each other out for the UCAT and everything. And I think it's going to be something very beneficial because I do believe you all should be working together rather than sort of staying separate and everything like that. So yeah, there's a sort of community for you all to be able to chat on. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get officially started with the actual sort of mini sort of lesson itself. So pretty much it's just going to be one quick tip, and it's about memorizing shapes. And it's just going to be showing you guys the importance of memorizing shapes, how to memorize them, a quick test, and a show of the worksheet, and the final summary as well. So let's start by talking about the importance of actually memorizing sides of shapes. Okay, so as always, we're just going to talk about a misconception and everything that students always have with abstract reasoning. And a very common misconception excuse me, is that students actually always just believe that when it comes to abstract reasoning, you only can really do it super well if you just are able to process patterns quickly. So you have all the information there, what everything sort of means and everything, and now you're just trying to put it together and everything. And that's what you feel like, well, that's what students generally feel like is what you really need to do to actually succeed. And that's true. You do actually need that to succeed. You do need to process the patterns and everything, but actually in being able to actually just see what's in front of you and actually look at that in the first place, that's actually very important. To be able to pick up that information quickly is very important. And that's where memorizing of shapes actually comes in as well. Okay. So, and this sort of just comes out with that as well, because the thing is that when it comes to the UCAT, abstract reasoning is actually very reliant on just shapes for their rules and everything. And, just shapes in general, in fact, rules, which will just involve like the size of these shapes more specifically. So pretty much, this is a very, very important aspect. Shapes and their sides are very important as well. And you're pretty much going to always be needing to work with them. And if you just spend time counting, it's going to actually end up costing you a lot of time. So that's why memorizing sides of shapes is like a great way to help improve your time by just helping speed up that sort of like information, sort of like grabbing sort of part, that information grabbing sort of part, right? And if we want to be a bit more specific, and actually can save around 10 to 20 seconds per set of questions. So if you guys watch my abstract reasoning, if you all watch my abstract reasoning sort of like main tutorial and everything, or that sort of like introduction, I would have talked about how the main sort of set of questions will just pretty much just be around 1 minute. You have a minute to do like the set of 5 questions, or the combination of 2 sets of 5 questions. And pretty much by doing this, memorizing sides, you actually can save around 10 to 20 seconds per set as well. And that can actually really, really save you a lot of time as well. If you actually do not save this time, that can really hurt, because 1 minute is not a lot of time. Using an extra 10 to 20 seconds is literally using 20 or 30% or something like that. And that's pretty bad. So yeah. And not only just that as well, it's not about just saving the time as well through just like not needing to count the sides, but also just pretty much, well, when you're actually counting the sides, in a sense, you're actually like, you're stopping like the processing of like the UCAT question, right? So pretty much by doing that, by actually spending so much time away, just sort of just counting the sides and everything, you're sort of like losing focus on the actual UCAT question or the patterns and what you're trying to think of. And that actually distracts your focus and that'll actually affect your ability to perform in the UCAT slightly as well. So actually two very, very important reasons as to why we actually really want to go for memorizing sides. So there we go. And now here's the sort of thing. Now, how do you actually memorize sides? Okay, so how do you actually memorize sides to make it work out? So this is actually one of those things where it's like, one of those things where it's one of those things that sort of just comes in naturally. So the thing is that, with many things in life when it comes like, I don't know, like, playing sports, like, socializing or just like, in fact, just like learning new skill, like dancing, you just need to sort of like, just be there, show up, and it just ends up coming in. When it comes to actually memorizing sides of shapes, at least from my experience and the experiences of my other students and my experience and the experiences of other students that I've taught as well, it's not something that just comes in very naturally. And just suddenly you need to actually sit down and actually think about it and actually really focus on actually memorizing it. And once you actually do it, then it's going to end up coming in because, your brain's not going to want to suddenly like, just randomly memorize the sides of like, the stars, something like that, unless you've been taught and you've actually made a deliberate attempt to do that. Okay. So that's important. But, you don't need to fret because it's actually very simple. So you first need to think about the shapes that need to be memorized. And I've listed a lot of shapes here. This is not a complete list right here. There's like 14 here. And it looks like there's a lot, but in reality, it may be, but the thing is that there's actually even more shapes in this that you need to sort of worry about. I think I made a worksheet and there's actually around 30 in here as well. So it's pretty hectic. But anyway, so how do you actually do this? So it's very simple. So this is just any sort of like, think about if you're trying to memorize anything else in your life, how do you do it? Well, what you do is that, you want to load up everything onto like a page. So you're going to load up the shapes of the page and everything. You have like a sort of like, reference like answer, right? Like the answers, right? And it's just keep looking back and forth between this answer and everything. You have like one on like one side and everything. See my cursor right here. Have like, one, the actual things that you're trying to sort of like, look at on one side and everything, like, just like the sort of, I guess, like the questions or something like that, and the answers on like the other side as well. You sort of like, look at that to the questions and one to the answers on the other side, and you memorize that. And pretty much it's sort of like the similar sort of thing right here. Pretty much you want to just simply load up the sort of shapes on a page and everything, and then you're gonna have like some sort of reference thing that actually tells you the amount of sides of each shape written somewhere. You count it yourself on the spot, but I wouldn't really recommend that because it's just easy to just have it on the side and everything. And pretty much just continue just looking at them until you haven't memorized it yet. So it's about just repeating yourself. Okay, star 10, that sort of thing, right? And you want to actually, so that's the sort of idea. And you want to be able to get to that sort of point where you can just say it quickly like that and they'll be perfect. And if you have curved-sided shapes as well, it might be useful to memorize the amount of curved sides as well. Not necessarily very important, but it could actually be a bit helpful here and there. It's one of those bonus things. In fact, I sort of like covered that a bit as well in the sort of resource that I made, which I'm about to show you all. So, and how do you actually know whether you've memorized it properly? Well, pretty much you can memorize, you've memorized it properly once you actually can look at the shape and you can just simply get it instant. It's like reflexively. It's just like, if someone asks you like, the sides of a square, in fact, the sides of a triangle, you'd be able to say like, 4, 3, like very quickly, right? So it's just about the same sort of thing right here. Like you don't even need to think about it, just comes. So pretty much you want to sort of get that stage where it just like, comes, like just like, you don't really need to think about it. It's just like, just brings itself up really, really easily. So like reflexively, right? And once you can get to that stage where you can just be like, oh, okay, star 10, like, hexagon 6, then that's exactly when you've memorized enough and everything. Okay. So that's how you do that. And pretty much, they're actually, so actually, pretty much what I'm saying right here is that, well, this is actually a very good reference video as well that you actually can sort of use just in case you do want to keep studying this, because the thing is that I'm going to actually upload like combination of two sets. So, well, when you do the UCAT, like the set ACPs, I call them the combination of two sets. If you saw that Memorising introduction video that I have there, but even if you didn't, now combination of two sets, and I've actually uploaded a few right there. And pretty much the idea is that if you can actually look at those shapes and you actually are able to just simply know all the sides of all the shapes that are right there, then you know that you're going to be absolutely perfectly fine for that in the actual UCAT. And you've got them memorized perfectly fine as well. And then I've also got a personal study document, pretty much a resource that tells you the exact sides, and I split them up in total sides, the amount of straight sides, the amount of curved sides for most, if not all shapes. So I wouldn't necessarily say all, but I do have most. Like, they're like going to be always some sort of like, weird ones there, like, don't really pop that often. Didn't like, if I found them, but if I didn't find them, they're not going to be there. Like those are unique. We didn't really need to worry too much. It's about the main ones anyways. And I've got those in. A little extra note right here as well, because this is actually a sort of thing that I've sort of seen just with me teaching my students. It's just that when it comes to the lightning bolt, you don't actually need to memorize the sides of it. It's pretty much, I've never actually seen a lightning bolt be used as an actual sort of shape where you need to count the sides of and everything. So that's just something there. Not going into the explanation as to why that would actually make sense as well, but pretty much that's what that as well. So if you need to think about, so if you're worrying about, oh, I need to memorize the sides of this lightning bolt or something like that. Oh, in fact, the cloud as well. I didn't actually put it here, but then also the cloud. You don't actually need to do that. So don't worry about that. Okay. So let's get into like the sort of test yourself examples right here. So what my plan was at the start was just to simply just like point towards the shape and be like, oh, this is this many sides, and how many sides does this have, how many sides does this have, or this is this many sides, sort of test you all. But then, you know, you have a worksheet as well, which you actually can just simply reference and everything. Reference is simply just like, you know, sort of like, you know, work under that yourself and everything. So I think, you know, I don't really sort of need to like, you know, do that and everything. You already have like a reference sort of thing. I need to go to that. Pretty much just like, pretty much, I guess, and now it's just about, here are some shapes. For example, you have like the parts up here with 3 sides, 2 straight, 1 curved. The arrow with 7 sides, 7 straight, 0 curve, that sort of thing as well. And pretty much the idea is that, so I've made 3 of these. So all of these right here. And if you actually can look at these right here, all 3 of these right here, combination of 2 sets, and you actually know the amount of sides, all of these and everything, then I can actually very, very safely say that you have gotten the memorization of sides pretty much absolutely perfect. And you should be perfectly fine. You are definitely UCAT ready in terms of, you know, the pure memorization of sides. And before I sort of just go into like the final summary, I just want to take the chance to just show you my worksheet as well, which I made. It was a painstaking worksheet, but I'm very happy with like the result overall. So pretty much I'm just going to sort of load it up right now. So you guys can just have a look. You all can just have a look. It's just going to be a quick second. And this will, as I mentioned before, it's going to be just down below in that sort of description area as well. So you can just simply just take a quick look at this as well, just in case you actually really need to, just in case you want to actually, just for you to download this sort of thing, or like, you know, yeah, just like for you to just like, you know, download this sort of document and just simply study it yourself. So there you go. So it should be loading up right here. Okay, perfect. See you. Pretty much just this. So yeah, here's my links and everything. And then I just show you everything. So you can see right here, it's a bit more complex than you actually think as well. So there's like, you know, so there's like lots of different shapes. So I'm sure if you've actually had any experience doing abstract reasoning, you recognize at least like 3/4 of these. I'll also separate into ones that you must memorize, like the cross, like, you know, the 12 one, because they commonly use sides to that one, but it's also like a huge hassle to count as well. Cross is 12, hexagon is 6. Used to be able to memorize. I'm very reflexive. You want to show me one of these shapes, I'd be able to just say, okay, this many sides quickly, or pretty much instantly. And that's where you want to be up to, right? Okay, so that's the worksheet, and definitely please go ahead and download that. Again, like I said before, it's just going to be down below. That's the description area for you to simply download. And simply work on, or just like open and work on as well. So please go ahead and make use of that. And I'm just going to quickly go to the summary right now, just quickly summarize. So many students just end up believing that when it comes to performing well in abstract reasoning, it's just about being able to process the information quickly. But then the thing is that actually bring in that sort of information in the first place and being able to break it down is also a huge part of your performance, because that actually takes a lot of time. And memorizing sides of shapes, so there's many ways in which you can bring information quicker. But one of the big ones is memorizing sides of shapes. Very simple process, just have something on the side right there that tells you the amount of have the shapes right there, and like pretty much something that tells you the amount of sides of the shape on like the other side right here, and just keep looking and looking and looking until you have it memorized and everything. Honestly, it'll take around 15 to 20 minutes, and you probably know around half of them anyways already. Like it's about like the cross and everything that, you know, you really need to sort of bring in, but that's something that comes in pretty easily as well. Because something like 3-4 shapes you probably really need to sort of like, you know, work on and everything to actually memorize. Like I said before, you probably got the others, and like I said before as well, there are test yourself slides in this PowerPoint that just shows you all the shapes there are pretty much that you sort of need to worry about. Most, if not all, that you need. In fact, I'd even say pretty much, well, I'd say most. I wouldn't necessarily say all, but I'd say most of the shapes and everything, and also a personal study document that actually tells you. It's like a reference sort of thing, a nice reference, like a resource that just tells you the amount of sides, total, straight, and curve for most, if not all, shapes. Okay, and that brings us to the end of our video now. So pretty much just scan the same thing. Google Forms to request a premium exclusive private tutoring session where you can learn a lot of extra information, get a private tutoring session with me, where you can learn a lot and, you know, get lots of little ways sort of study from me and everything, and learn a lot about improving yourself. And as I mentioned before, I do have a 100% success rate for those who have followed my program to the standard that I sort of enjoy and everything. So yeah, so definitely, it definitely does work, I feel like. And also the Discord UCAT community as well, which you can join as a way to sort of chat to other people as well and be connected in like a community to keep yourself motivated and also just with other people who can help you as well. All right, so both of those will be down below in the description. Now I'm just going to start off by saying, well, to score 3,000, you need to aim for 3,600. All right, so see you later, guys. Bye-bye.